I got Tbull here. Today we got a game in the Harbin for you. We're going to be talking about defensive play, and we'll explain what that means. It doesn't mean just sitting in the back lobbing shells by any means, but rather defending ongoing scoring, which is the key to winning the game. There's the Harbin, still grinding out the Tier 8, working on that. We do have a game on North, Domination Mode. We're in the center, one destroyer per side. Ours happens to be on the west. And take a look at the map. We got A, B, C. Now, any domination mode game, those caps are where your attention should be. Every time we see this map here, we do need to point out the section on the east side of the map. You see those two giant islands that kind of ring around the right-hand side of C there? Those things are huge. You cannot shoot over those in any ship, which means putting yourself to the east of those means you effectively cannot shoot into a cap. If you cannot shoot into a cap, you're almost certainly in a wrong position because shooting into caps is how you project power and enhance your team's ability to score. So do not ever put yourself there. I can't think of a single situation unless you're hunting someone down at the end of the game where that would be considered a good play. When the game launched, we used to see this position a lot, and then it went away for a while, a couple of years it seemed actually, and all of a sudden in the last 6 months or so we see a lot of players going back over there again. So if you're newer to the game or you're still figuring out the maps or whatever, do not go to the east of C unless exigent circumstances arise, which generally I can't think of the last time they any play caused me to move over there. So just don't do it. Our cruiser will be over there. He cannot shoot into C, he cannot shoot into B, he can't shoot anyone on red. And if he managed to stay alive, it would take him about 5 minutes to get into a position where he could do so. He's actually going to run into 2 red battleships, which of course will kill him rapidly. But luckily for us, they're going to be down 2 ships who can't do anything for the first third of the match. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Just a bad position. It's not a good position. I don't really think there's a lot of room for debate on that one. But feel free to let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. Anyway, red, who spawned north of B, they abandoned it. Now both me and the Suzuya recognize the opportunity to capture B, which is going to be a great scoring play. Domination mode games, you're going to win some by out-brawling the enemy. They're going to win some by out-brawling your team. And the difference is the games in between those, right? The games that are going to be decided on scoring. What percentage is that? I don't know. 30%, 20%, 10%, 50%, who knows? But there's just going to be some games in this World of Warships Legends that you just more or less can't win, right? Your team's going to get beat, and there's not much you can do about it. You can't control anyone but your own ship. Likewise, sometimes your team's just going to pummel red. There's not much they can do about it, and there's not much you can do to stop it. Sometimes your team just happens to sink all the other ships a lot quicker than they do you. Those games, you don't really have to think about, right? That's, nothing that you're going to learn about the game other than some basic mechanics is really going to affect that, and it's only going to affect it by a very minor percentage. So how do you go from a 40% win rate to a 60% win rate? Winning all those other games that aren't going to be decided on sinking the enemy team, right? And that's the mistake that newer players and certainly bad players make, is they ignore the scoring, right? So here we're grabbing the base, all right, and that's going to allow our team to score 3 points every 5 seconds for as long as we control this base. Now, if that's 12 minutes, that's hundreds of points. All right, so that's a huge scoring play. That's more valuable than sinking numerous battleships in terms of the score, and it's a very strong play. But what we need to do, how we need to move beyond that, is to come up with a strategy to consistently win these domination mode games as consistently as we possibly can. Right? There's still going to be some games we can't win just due to the fact that our team's our team. But the games that we're going to have control over, it's going to be because we're focused on these scoring opportunities, these scoring positions, attacking them, i.e. moving into them, capturing B, that's an attacking play, and then defending them, right? I got other options. I could charge over to A, which wouldn't be bad. Now we do have a 4v1 over there with an unguarded cap, essentially, so I'm hoping blue can figure that one out. Oof, look out here. That's a dangerous play there. We're going to have to pop a smoke and disengage. But, that's one option. We could also go into C. Now, that would be somewhat strange, given that we're in a brittle battleship. Both of our battleships have run, and they got about 3, 4, 5, 6 ships over there, whatever it is. I mean, that's it's not really a good option either. So, you know, attacking in this situation is limited. If there's other opportunities to do so, certainly would probably pursue those over defending first and foremost. But we are in the process of capturing A. We got B, and in domination mode games, the game plan is always going to be going into it. How do we win this game, team? We capture and control one flank. We capture and control the middle position, and then we defend those against whatever red can throw at us. Every single game, you know, in these 3 cap games, that's going to be the game plan, right? If your team's playing semi-intelligently and they understand how to actually play the game, that's how you win the game. All right, so again, sooner or later they probably will capture A at some point. We're going to have to defend B. And that's a good play. Now we're getting some damage here and there, certainly, but we're mainly focused on trying to see how we can defend the space. Now, I'm pretty nervous at this point in time. The only reason I'm not that nervous is because last time we saw that battleship who just reappeared to the north, he was turning northward. But if he was pushing into us, he might be reticent to do so because we got some close battleship support to the south, southwest. Perhaps that's why he turned off. But in terms of the Harbin itself, he could move into us, kill us point blank range. That's not a difficult fight. You'd only have to worry about the torpedo threat, which is substantial, no doubt, on the Harbin and some of these Asian cruisers, the deep water torps, coupled with the torpedo reload booster. Nasty, nasty threat, but not as nasty as a Flanders smashing me point blank range from any angle. That would be game over. So how we're defending B, well, we're trying to stay as close to it as we can, but again, if the Flander moves close to us, we move backwards. At a reasonable distance, we still want to maintain control as best as we can, and the blue team right here is doing a really good job exerting control over the middle of the map, right? We talk about this a lot on this channel here, but as the game evolves, controlling the center is more and more powerful. It's more and more viable as well because there's less flanking shots into us. So they're doing a pretty good job here trying to maintain control. We do have an interesting situation here where normally in these situations when we capture and control the flank and we capture and control the middle, the space between the flank and the middle has already been cleared, right? Generally that's going to happen. You'll kill everyone on the A flank, you'll kill everyone in the middle, and then everybody from the C, in this instance, all the red ships would be coming from the C direction. Here we do have that Flander threatening A, and if he is able to knock out that battleship over there, he could potentially capture that base and then start flanking us and hitting us with crossfire there. So that is the danger there. He would, of course, be my preferred target in this instance, but due to the fact that we got that island blockage to the northwest of us currently, our attention's turned to the King George, who is moving southward. He's moving into the spawn. You'll see there's no caps where he's going, so he's not a high priority target. But he is one that I would like to sink because, again, he is creating right angles from his position. So he's not gaining strategic ground, but he is gaining potentially dangerous ground. So we got some evolving threats over here with the battleships. But looks like the Roma having a good time with the Flander until this play right here. This is a bit of a disaster and a great play by the red Flander going down. I got 8,000 HP in the Flander. I'm going up against a Roma who's got, 50,000 health, something like that. He looked like he was about 8,000, 10,000 health down from whatever his max health was. That's a hell of a trade, right? If you're going to conceptualize team's relative strength, team HP is certainly a valid measure of doing so, right? If you've got 8 guys, but they all got 5,000 health against 3 guys, but they all got 80,000 health. I mean, I'd say the opposing team, red in this instance, I guess, would be at an advantage via that metric. So anytime you're going to ram, basically you're trading HP. And if you can do it in a lopsided manner like that, generally that's a good play, especially when we're equal on ships. Now, the disadvantage for the Flander doing so is, of course, he loses the opportunity to attack the A cap. But again, he's probably not going to survive against the much more healthier, robustly healthed Roma in that instance. So good play by the Flander there. Certainly was impacting our decision making throughout just by moving into that aggressive position. So I thought he had a pretty good sequence there, just looking at it casually from what we were able to observe from our position. Anyway, moving back into what we're doing here. We still really don't have a lot of threats to B. Now, we do have a Prince Eugene right to the north of that island there. He may be wary of pushing into battleships, but the problem is when you're on a team that's kind of ignored the scoring, or at least found themselves in a scoring deficit like Red has here, you don't really have the option to stick with plays that you want to make, right? Sure, Eugen doesn't want to push into a battleship, even though the battleship's blocked by an island here, even though he's got a destroyer in the cap here that he could rush with the sonar and blast them, even though he could probably manhandle a Harbin close range. You know, in this guy's instance, he doesn't want to do this, so he's been chilling behind the island for 4 or 5 minutes. Now he's out, but it doesn't really matter. You got to make plays that you got to make, right? The game situation dictates what you need to do, not what you're comfortable doing. And if you're not comfortable making plays, go ahead and make them. You got to practice to get out of your comfort zone. A very complicated game. You're not going to get better just by sitting back there watching the game through the island. So I think Red, positionally didn't do that well here, but hopefully, if you've been paying attention to what we're doing and what I've been saying, you see defending the base as important as obtaining it. Offense and defense both equally important to your win percentage. So that's a look at the Harbin for you guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Blah, blah, blah.